Steve here, Blossom Racing. Going to bring a video to you on how to install a coil bracket in a Rhino 1 block. Also can be done on other blocks. Some blocks out there can't have this process done. So here is what it looks like afterwards, after you're done. Got the coil on there, the flywheel, and behind the coil you can see the coil bracket. So the reason why we do this is the bolts that hold the coil on will actually strip out. When those get stripped out, there's other ways you can repair it. You can put helicoils in there, twin inserts in there, change the bolt size, go to a bigger bolt, or we can install this coil bracket. So here's a picture of this motor before it had the coil bracket. So the first step to installing this coil bracket is going to be to install your engine onto a plate. This is the plate we use. Got the 4 studs so we can bolt it down. And then you're going to need yourself a coil bracket, which I have right here. And as you can see, we put the bolts in there. These 2 holes are the holes that are going to hold this bracket on. So these holes are blank holes. They don't have any threads in it. So I can get a center punch in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bolt this to the motor. And once I have this bolted to the motor with these 2 screws right here, I am going to scribe all the way around it just to kind of draw an outline onto the engine. And then we're going to take the plate and the engine that's all assembled together. We're going to put it into the mill, and then we're going to get the engine all squared up and get it at 0. So here's a picture in that process. Once you have your engine all squared up into your machine, the next step is going to be measuring your coil bracket, how thick it is, to determine how deep you are going to install that coil bracket into your engine. Every motor is a little bit different, so you have to be really careful not to install that bracket too deep. If you go too deep, you can get into the sleeve of the engine and cause yourself a lot of problems. If you get it too deep, you could have the bolts that hold the coil bracket on. You won't have enough material there to drill it and tap it to install your brackets to hold install your bolts to hold the bracket on. So next step after that is the coil bracket. As you can see right here is about 316 thousandths thick. On this particular engine, we are going to install this coil bracket at 300 thousandths. So the notch that we're going to cut in the block is going to be 300 thousandths. Next step is going to be to cut the material out of the engine to make room for the coil bracket. Just a fair warning, make sure that you remove, prior to doing any cutting, any bolts, any helicoils, any twin inserts, any set screws that are in there. I've done it before where you go through and you start cutting and then you hit one of those bolts and it makes a loud racket. Sometimes it breaks your tools. So so the next step, so before you cut, make sure that your area is cleaned off, make sure there's no foreign materials in there, and make your cut, which you can see in the next picture here. Once you have that area all cut out, next step is to fit your piece into your engine. Set it down in there. If it sets down in nice tight around the bracket, and once you get it down in there, set this back down in, screw these screws into the holes that are already there. That'll hold your bracket so it doesn't move around inside that slot. Take your center punch in that hole, whack it with a hammer, pull this back out. Then you're going to get a 149 thousandths drill bit. You're going to drill 2 holes. They're going to be about 500 thousandths deep is about how deep I went on these. That could vary from one block to the other. Sometimes you got to go shorter. Sometimes you can go longer. The longer the bolt, the better. Just be careful of the sleeve. You don't want to go into the sleeve. So after you get those holes drilled, the drill is 149 thousandths, like I said. And then you take your 1024 tap both holes. When that is done, reinstall the any set screws underneath. So usually on a Rhino 1, the 2 holes all the way over to the left, you'll look at those holes and they'll go all the way through into the valve cover, into the valve spring pocket. So you will have to take a couple set screws and put them into those holes. I usually silicone them, stick them in there, and then all the holes for adjusting the coil that's still in the block, I will take and put silicone in them just to help keep any oil coming out of those holes, okay? And so once you have that all sealed up, really simple, just set your usable coil bracket into the pocket, put your screws in, tighten it down, and you just repaired yourself the coil bracket. And this is, of course, the finished product. And you got your coil bracket in there. You can see it's nice and tight. And this motor is now good to go. So, of course, in order to do this, you know, you got to have a mill. So hopefully this video helps you guys out. Kind of shows you the process on how to install the coil bracket when yours fails. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe to this. Really helps me out. Follow my page here for Blossom Racing. That way you'll get notified whenever I post another video. So thanks a lot, guys. Take care and be safe out there.